Good? I got a short talk for you guys, and I spent years thinking about it. I hope it's going to be good, inshallah, and that you'll enjoy it. I call it 10 rules for Muslim youth. Now, some of you aren't, in middle school or high school or college, but some of you have kids. Some of you are parents. Inshallah, it's relevant. You may be an imam or a youth director. You might be involved at your masjid. Hopefully, it's relevant to most, if not all of you. 10 rules for Muslim youth. Can anybody guess the first? Or anything on the list? What do you guys think? 10 rules for Muslim youth. Hey, how about those who are sitting? Why don't you guys come sit here? If you're sitting down, you guys can sit like in the middle area right there, and then I can actually engage with you, can talk, we can answer questions. Back there, I'm not gonna be able to call on you or anything. It's up to you. What do you guys think? 10 rules for Muslim youth. Can anybody guess what some of the rules are? I know, it takes a lot of courage to go first. Who's a courageous, confident first?
Hold on to your prayers.
Hold on to your prayers, excellent. Rule number 1 is put God first, okay? Pretty much the same idea. Put God first. Last Friday, not yesterday, but the Friday before, was my first time ever washing a dead body. I'm 29, never done it. I thought I would do it one day. I didn't think I'd do it this early, but I'm an assistant imam at a masjid, and it was my responsibility. At the graveyard, there were people born in 1937, people born in 1945. It's expected, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds. The brother who passed away, we washed his body, we prayed the janazah, we buried him, was 60-something years old. Expected-ish. But at the graveyard, we saw 2000 to 2019. A 19-year-old passed away. We were not expecting that. The advice is, the reminder is, put God first. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what personality you have. It doesn't matter what your hobbies and passions are. It doesn't matter what your goals are. It doesn't matter your age. Put God first. Remember the big picture. Keep the big picture in mind. This life is short. It doesn't last forever. We're all going to die, every single one of us. Put God first. To the best of your abilities, inshallah. Make sense? Allah has the picture, we have the pixel. So we do our best to know more about Allah, so that we can love Him, so we can obey Him. Put our hope and trust and fear and love in Allah. Put God first. Rule number 2 is be dutiful to your parents. This is going to get interesting, because no one disagrees with number 1. This gets interesting. Our deen doesn't require us to absolutely always agree with our parents. No two people in human history have ever fully agreed on everything. It's never happened. No two people in human history have ever fully agreed. It's never happened. No two people in human history have ever fully agreed. It's never happened. So take a deep breath. Our deen doesn't say you have to absolutely blindly obey your parents. I'm not telling you not to obey your parents, of course. You do your best to obey your parents. But are you allowed to have a different view? Are you allowed to disagree? Are you allowed to make your own decisions at a certain age? Yes. But it does require us to respect them and to be dutiful to them and to take care of them as best as we can. And even when you're disagreeing, you do so politely, respectfully. 2 different things. If we had more time, I'd go into more detail. Maybe you can ask in the Q&A at the end. But be dutiful to your parents. Take good care of them. Don't be rebellious. In our culture, it's like, don't listen to them for the sake of not listening to them. It's cool not to listen. No, it's not cool. It's not cool to be rebellious for the sake of being rebellious. I know a lot of movies and shows, they're the enemy, they're the villain. You have to slay the dragon to be a hero, right? Slaying your parents is the theme of many movies. It's a bunch of nonsense, because you can be a parent one day. But be dutiful to them. It means you can choose your own major, you can choose who you want to marry, you can make your own decisions. That is not necessarily being disrespectful, but you can also obey them and be disrespectful. So those are 2 different things. You should always respect them, always be dutiful to them, even when you're disagreeing with them. Again, you're free to catch me outside and ask me questions if you want more detail. But hopefully you don't misquote me or misunderstand me. Be dutiful to your parents. Number 3, don't fall for the traps. And number 4, they're related, don't get distracted. You might have heard this in other lectures and talks, especially if you're a student of knowledge and you attend duruus and halaqat and khutbahs. You might have heard shubuhat and shahawat, doubts and desires. It's the mind and the heart. All the types of tests we have in life, because life is a test, made up of tests. All the tests you go through, they're either going to be a test in your mind or in your heart, right? In your mind, and I'm telling you to not fall for the traps. Different lifestyles, different philosophies, different ideologies, different belief systems. At the end of the day, we love everybody, we care about everybody, we're here to work with and live side by and serve everybody. But there is the truth, with a capital T. It's absolute truth. Allah tells us what's right and what's wrong. Allah tells us what's true and what's false. It's not even up for us to decide. Even Muslims can get together and they can't decide what's 100% true, or what's 100% the right thing to do. But alhamdulillah, for that we have Allah and we have His Messenger. We have the truth. But we live in a place, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, the marketplace of ideas. Part of our culture, part of the mindset is, just like you go shopping, you can buy different things, whatever you want to buy. It's up to you, it's free. It's a free market. Similarly, there's all these different ideas, religions. Pick whatever you want. It's all the same. Islamically, we disagree. It's not all the same. There's absolute truth. So don't fall for the traps. And the fourth one was don't get distracted. So that was intellectual. This is your heart. It's drugs and alcohol. It's video games and addictions to other things. It's social media. You can scroll for hours. You can go places you shouldn't go. Listen to things you shouldn't be listening to. Spend time with people you probably shouldn't spend time with. Look at things you shouldn't be looking at. And all that is gonna go through your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, etc. into your heart. It's gonna affect you. Don't be like, it's just a movie. Yo, it's just a music, it's just a song. It's not just a song. You listen to thousands of songs in your life, and you watch thousands of movies, you tell me that doesn't affect you at all? You're lying to yourself. Movies tell us who to love and how to love. How to earn our money and how to spend our money. Where to go and who to hang out with, what our purpose in life is, who we are, our identity. You tell me that's not everything? That's everything. Don't say it's nothing. Don't say it's just a movie. It's not just a movie. People come together that are geniuses and intellectuals and intelligent people, hardworking people, and they put $100 million into a movie and it's just a movie. Bro, don't kid yourself. It's a project. They get together, they have a certain agenda, they have a certain mindset, they have a certain belief. They're trying to give their da'wah. Just like we're at a conference, I'm trying to share my views. Every movie, every music video, they have views. We agree with some, we disagree with some. Just don't. I want you guys to be smart, yeah? Stay awake. Don't fall for the traps and don't get distracted, because there's a lot of distractions. All these things that pull at you in different directions, they pull at your heart. Your heart is created by Allah, it's meant for Allah. Does that mean you can't love a person? You can't enjoy a certain thing? That's not what it means. But if something is pulling you away from Allah, then know that your heart can't be worshiping, loving, fearing more than one thing. You love, fear, and hope and worship Allah. So it is worship when you obsess over other things. If you go to sleep thinking about something, waking up thinking about something, your heart is attached to it, it's a type of worship, so be careful. Put God first, be dutiful to your parents, don't get distracted and don't fall for the traps. You guys with me? Too much? TMI? Too fast? It's kind of too fast, yeah? I get excited. Number 5 is be grateful. Especially speaking to people that grew up like me. We're spoiled brats from the suburbs, let's just be honest. You probably grew up, not all of you, a lot of you grew up here in the US. I'm speaking to the high schoolers, the teenagers, the college students, middle school, elementary school. You probably grew up like me, where your biggest problem in life was, the wrong brand of sneaker, your parents gonna get you the latest phone when it came out, but the next day or the next year, these are not major problems, guys. I know you probably heard the same thing from every khutbah, every talk, and every other lecture at this conference, but there's a reason why everyone's saying it. Because it's not the biggest problem. You can't obsess over it. Life's too short. I told you I went to the graveyard a couple weeks ago, and it said 2019. That's you guys. That's you. A bunch of you guys here are 19. And those who aren't are 18, 17, 16, or 20, 21, 22. You're in your 20s like me. You're not guaranteed another day. How can you obsess over which brand of sneaker? Like, who cares? Who cares? Who cares what brand? Alhamdulillah, it is what it is. Be grateful. Look at those below you in worldly stuff and those above you. And if you memorize a bunch of surahs, remember there's people that memorize the whole Quran and they did it at a younger age. Don't feel bad, and just know that you can do better. And you keep at it. You don't give up. But when it comes to the fact that you don't have the fanciest stuff or the newest stuff, there are people that don't have that much less than you. Because if you do look at it the other way around, you look at those above you, right? What color is your Bugatti? If you don't have that mindset, it's endless. He has 28 supercars, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. The guys in the back. He has 28 supercars. There are people that have 30 supercars. And if he was to think about it, he might get upset. That's not about him. It's the mindset. What color is your Bugatti? It's endless. You can have 28 supercars, and then a new brand comes out, a new model comes out. You can have a $50 million mansion, but then what happens when your neighbor has a $51 million mansion? That's a race you can never win. That's endless. And then what happens when Allah decides you're going to die at 35, and you spent 15 to 35 years old getting A's in school, which is great. Parents, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. You got A's in school, went to the best universities, got an excellent job, computer science or medicine, and they made 150K. And then at 35, you had put together a good amount of money. You got that car that you wanted or that house, nothing wrong with that. But then Allah decided you're dying at 35. You know that if you do die at 35, which could happen, you're not guaranteed, you know that then, if you could come back again, you wouldn't do the same thing from 50 to 35, where money was number one, or degrees was number one. You wouldn't do that. That doesn't mean that those are bad things, it just means your sense of priorities might be off. Put God first, always and forever. In the masjid, at home, when you're with your parents, when you're not with your parents. When you're at school, in the classroom, and in the hallway. When you're on the sidewalk, in the street, in the car, outside the car. You're at the restaurant, you get the point, yeah? Wherever you are, put God first. Be dutiful to your parents. Don't fall for the traps. Don't get distracted. Be grateful. Number 6 is be patient. We have different types of personalities, but if you're like me, you have goals, you want to achieve them, you want to do big things, you're always connecting with people, trying to make things happen, start projects, start organizations, trying to build a brand, start a company, speaking at different places, you're trying to make things happen, that's great, maybe, depends on why. But you gotta remember that if you're the type, and a lot of us are, where you want it right now, it doesn't happen right now. The biggest goals, by definition, take a long time to achieve. The biggest goals, if you're ambitious, if you want to get that big, whatever, house, car, you want to go to that best university, the biggest goals take a long time to achieve, or else they wouldn't be big goals. If there's something big that you really want, but you're like, why isn't it like, I want it today? No, but if it came today, it wouldn't be a big goal. You wouldn't want it that bad. You want it badly because you know it's tough. Not everybody has it maybe. Maybe it's hard to get there. A lot of you here, I know you guys love to play basketball or other sports, and you're looking at some of the best, and honestly, I only know like 5 names in the NBA. I don't have time to sit down. I don't know how you guys watch the Super Bowl for like hours and days and weeks, but anyways, it's not haram, but I just want to tell you there are better uses of your time. But anyways, I know like 5 players that play soccer, maybe 5 that play basketball. Let's be honest, a lot of us look up to them when we grow up, right? We want to be like them. But guess what? If it took 1 year of training to be that big, you wouldn't have hundreds of millions of people around the world wanting to be that way. Does that make sense? By definition, if it's a big goal, it takes time. So what's the advice? Rule number 6, be patient. Be patient. You got big goals, it takes time. Just because you're not there today at 15 or 20 or 25, I know there's a YouTuber that at 20 years old made $100 million, I get it. But that's one person, 10, 50, 100, it's not realistic. Just because it's not you doesn't mean you're a failure. Be patient. Yeah, that's one of the pros and cons of social media and living in the US and like having like our schooling system where we constantly hear the best stories of people doing big things, and you probably have a person sitting next to you in your class in high school or college that's like playing football on the team and maybe he's a future rapper or maybe he has a YouTube channel. I get that can be tough. But the big goals, by definition, take time. Be patient. You don't have to be there at high school or college. A better advice for you, speaking to you guys who are like teenagers, especially I'm speaking to the guys, especially because I know what it's like. There are gender-based differences, but anyways, for those of you guys who are teenage guys, you making sure you're spending your time well each day is more important than getting that goal today. Because if you're doing the right things, like Kobe woke up and played basketball at 4 a.m., that's more important than where he reached. Because it took him 20 years to reach there, but every day he woke up 4 a.m., went to the gym, etc. Make sense? Focus more on the process. I know you guys have heard this many times, but top 10 rules I believe from what I've seen and what I've heard in my research and my studies, be patient. Number 7, choose your friends and mentors wisely. Your friends and mentors is everything. You know why? I'll tell you why. In 20, 25, 30 minutes, even if I had an hour and a half to talk to you, and it was perfectly good advice, which it isn't, this is my opinions, I'm a young guy, right? Even if it was the best advice and you listened to all of it and applied all of it, it's only an hour and a half of information, of knowledge. You need a lot more. That's why it's very important who your mentors are, who your teachers are, and who your friends are. Because all the things you need to know in life, all the things at every stage in your life, there's more advice you need, and it's every situation you're in, there's a right decision, a wrong decision. All that knowledge you need and the information you need and the decisions you make, it can't be at a lecture. There's no lecture that's that good. Even the best speakers on YouTube and all the best top lectures and khatibs and imams in our conference can't possibly help you with a lecture. That's not a realistic goal for a lecture. That's not the goal. That's not how it works. You need lectures throughout your whole life. You need advice at every pieces throughout your life. So your mentors and your friends is everything. You surround yourself by people, and Muslims know this, non-Muslims know this. There's ayahs and hadiths on this, which I don't need to quote, you've heard them. But you've also heard everyone on social media say this. Right-wing people, left-wing people, white, brown, black, in the US and around the world. You've heard it a million times. You know why? Because it's true, it's a fact. Your friends are everything. The people you surround yourself by is everything. It makes it way easier to go to the gym. I'm just using this example because my target audience are like teenage guys. That's my life project. I work with them all the time, alhamdulillah. I've had some success. You high schoolers and college kids, etc., boys, know that it's way easier to go to the gym if that's your goal, to get there more consistently. It's way easier if your friends around you all go to the gym. And if your goal is to get better in school, which I encourage you to do so, I did my best to get A's. I got plenty of awards. We can talk about it. Parents want to hear that as well. They don't want to hear just this other stuff. But know that if your goal is to get an A and you're at a B, if you're 5 people you hang out with in school all have A's, it's easy to get an A. You just see the way they study. You just spend time with them. The things they talk about. Culture. It's the culture. Your mentors, your teachers. It's very important. Don't listen to any random person on YouTube. It don't matter their following. Some people have a bigger following and they don't know what they're talking about. Some people have a smaller following, but they're right. So it's very important that you choose your mentors and your friends very wisely. Don't be passive about it. I was gonna go on to the next point, but this point is very important. If you're in college, and some of you guys are gonna be there in a few years if you're not there already. If you're going to college and you're gonna make your best friends in those 4 years are gonna be the person next to you in the dorm or the person that sits next to you in class, so it's passive, it's just whoever happens to be there, it's not the best move. I don't advise that. You gotta be purposeful about who you choose as your friends. Meet 1,000 people and pick 5 of them. Meet 100 people and pick 1 or 2. It's not quantity, it's quality. And you should be proactive about it. You should go and pick people. It's not just whoever sits next to you. That person might take you in the wrong direction. We can talk about it inshallah. Choose your friends and mentors wisely. Number 8, how am I on time? Okay, moderator in the back. Number 8, Maintain your fitness. I know that many of you are surprised by hearing something to do with fitness or health or nutrition in a khutbah or a lecture or a Islamic talk. I did this on purpose. I've talked to some of the top scholars in America and around the world, and they said absolutely, it's absolutely part of our deen, and it's absolutely something that you should talk about in khutbahs and durus and halaqat. I do this on purpose, because I noticed in our community, we have a couple people that are like athletic. Actually, it's not our society, it's not just our community. We have a few people that end up being athletes, but almost everyone else has the mindset of, okay, I'm not gonna go pro. Which is fine. So you neglect your health, you got one body and one life. As a Muslim, every single one of you, whether you're going to be a professional athlete, which is very unlikely, or you're not playing or you're playing for your school team, or you're not doing any of that, you should still take care of your health. It's for you. You're not going to be able to operate at your maximum, spiritually or mentally or psychologically, emotionally, financially, nothing, unless you're physically as best as you can. It's very important. It's part of our deen. We can talk about it, inshallah. But maintain your fitness. It's absolutely relevant. It'll help you put God first easier. It's easier to pray and your dhikr and your dua and your hajj and your umrah and your zakat and your sadaqah and all the personal ibadat, which I didn't talk about much. It's part of putting God first. All that is easier when you're healthier. But so is everything else in what we're about to talk about, which is having a vision, number 9, and number 10 is changing the world. Number 9, have a vision. 2019, someone passed away at 19 years old. Nobody expects a 19-year-old to pass away. And as a lot of you remember, a few years ago, 3-4 summers ago, here in Houston, we buried a 15-year-old. Who remembers? We buried a 15-year-old in Houston 3-4 summers ago. You guys remember? We went to the janazah, we went to the funeral. It was at Masjid Hamza, I believe. No, it was at Masjid Mu'mineen, and then we went to the graveyard. And I'd been to the graveyard a few times. I never remember seeing a graveyard full of people. So I'm sure a few of you were there, at least, if not many of you. Nobody expects a 15-year-old to pass away. Nobody expects a 19-year-old to pass away. So you have one life. You can't possibly get all the good deeds, make all the money. Like, you have to have a vision. You have to be focused. You can't do everything, but your life can be worthwhile. And you can die and have a legacy where you get a lot more good deeds than you ever accomplished in your lifetime. Think about even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ who lived a life. You can't possibly be that productive with your time and that influential and that successful, right? Agreed? Even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he has more good deeds after his life than during his life. As much good deeds as he possibly got from all his prayers and dua and da'wah and dhikr, he got more after his life. You know why? Because he had a vision. Because he produced people. He invested in people. He took care of people. He taught people. And they went and they taught us. How many of you guys are from Arabia? Like maybe 0 people in the room. Maybe 1 of you, 2 of you. We're all from all over the world. We're not from Arabia. That's a vision. So have a vision. Don't be afraid to think big. Think big, but remember all the other points. They all come in order too. You gotta be patient. If you have a big goal, you gotta be patient, by definition. If you have this vision of I want to change the world, and then tomorrow you wake up and like, why hasn't it happened yet? I guess some of the elders are like, obviously, but some of the 10, 15-year-olds, you might have that inside you, and I understand it. Inshallah, you can manage it. It's not bad to be ambitious, you gotta be patient. And be grateful. Something worked out a little bit, it didn't work out all the way, be grateful, it could have been worse. And keep at it. Have a vision and change the world. Change the world sounds so cheesy, I know. Change the world, like, are you literally gonna change the world? You actually can. What if I told you that as we speak, there are 10, 15, 20, 25-year-olds around the world, boys and girls, Muslim and non-Muslim, that have started non-profits or brands, for-profits, have started companies or organizations that have literally changed the course of human history. And it's easier than in all throughout history, and you guys all know the examples. I'm not going to go into the Sahaba and etc. You know examples of young people who have done big things, 10, 15, 20 years old. But not only that, in our times, it's even easier than ever because the same phone that you have and those same apps on social media, those same things that probably take 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of your time, same ones can be used to do big things. There are people that are 15-year-olds that are digging wells in other countries. They're not even in those countries, but they've used social media and they've maximized it and they've used it. And they're probably not swiping it left and right and going up and down for 9 hours a day because you can't do both. You gotta manage your time. But you absolutely are capable. So I believe in you. Just because the elders of your family or community or masjid, with all due respect, might, hopefully they don't, but if they do, they made you feel that you can't do big things because you're 10, 15, 20. Know that I've dealt with over 1,000 10, 15, 20-year-olds, and I've seen at least a number of them do huge things. You're absolutely capable. Don't let anybody make you feel like you can't. You put Allah first. You be dutiful to your parents. You don't fall for the traps. You stay focused. You don't get distracted. You're grateful and patient as best as you can. We all make mistakes. I'm not trying to tell you to be perfect. It's just advice. And you choose your friends and mentors wisely. You maintain your fitness, so it's spiritual, it's mental, and physical. You have a vision, and you can change it. Write it in pencil, put your goals in pencil, so you can change it, update it, improve it. It's okay, you don't gotta be perfect. You will change the world. And I'm here to help you, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.